take their oaths of office. They renew their commitment to uphold the Constitution, serve with integrity, and advance the aspirations of the Virgin Islands. This ceremony is not only a testament to the resilience of our democratic process, but also a call to action for collective progress, accountability, and service to our community. Let us reflect on the profound responsibility entrusted to these leaders and embrace the promise of collaboration and unity that lies ahead. Together as one Virgin Islands, we will continue to strive for excellence, overcome challenges, and create a brighter future for generations to come. Thank you for joining us for this momentous occasion. And now we will have a musical selection by the ever so talented choirs of the Charlotte Amalia and Ivana Udorakan High Schools. And again, we are public school proud. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us for today's oath of office ceremony.
Don't you worry about a thing. Don't you worry about a thing, mama. 'Cause I'll be standing on the side when you check it out. When you get don't you worry about a thing. Don't you worry about a thing. Don't you worry about a
So we're going to clap until the very last person makes their way to their seat. We're going to give them a very big round of applause. Again, we are always so proud of our public school students representing the Ivana-Edorican High School and the Charlotte Amalia High School. And we thank their directors for all of their efforts and hard work. And I do thank former Senator Myron Jackson for bringing to my attention the accidental omission of recognizing former Senator and Lieutenant Governor Osbert Potter and former Senator Michael Thurland. So please accept our apologies. So thank you so much, students. And now a very important part of today's program. One of two important parts of today's program. We are going to welcome the Supervisor of Elections, Caroline Fox, for the reading of certification and presentation of senators, the 36th Legislature.
A good morning, Virgin Islands. Governor Bryan, Lieutenant Governor Roach, distinguished platform guests, ladies and gentlemen. Pursuant to Title 18, Chapter 3, Section 47, all duties relative to the certification of the results of the general election of November 5th, 2024 have been completed, and it has been determined that the following candidates have been elected members of the 36th Legislature of the Virgin Islands. As your name is alphabetically called, please stand to be recognized, and then please take your seat. At-large Senator Angel L. Volquez, Jr. Senators, District of St. Thomas, St. John, Marvin A. Blyden, Dwayne M. DeGraff, Ray Fonseca, Alma Francis Heiliger, Carla J. Joseph, Avery L. Lewis, Milton E. Potter, Senators, District of St. Croix, Novell E. Francis Jr., Hubert L. Frederick, Kenneth L. Gittens, Maurice C. James, Franklin D. Johnson, Clifford A. Joseph, Kurt A. Vialet. Will all the members of the 36th Legislature please rise? I present to you the members of the 36th Legislature of the Virgin Islands. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Supervisor Fox. Now let's give them another round of applause. I am absolutely loving the ties of our male senators. Our female senators always look beautiful, but I just love that purple. I hope we can see a lot more of that color. And in speaking of color, we have a special poem reading, Under the Turquoise Skies, and this is going to be by Miss Lydia Potter. Do enjoy.
First off, let's start by giving thanks to the Most High. Under turquoise skies. All are we nestled in the Caribbean Sea, surrounded by pristine white sands and blue waters. Oscillations to common rhythms, a beauty that's captivating, yet a microcosm of a divided nation. Finding ourselves at crossroads that we must navigate, knowing that each challenge is a lesson. Exhausted at times with the pushing and the pulling, the left and right views a bit confusing, and yes, the many opportunities to soar like the eagle, showing freedom and strength, spreading our wings as we climb to mountaintop, swim on Megan's Bay or snorkel at Buck Island Reef, or bask in the sunshine of Trunk Bay with a cold glass of Marby. Yeah, that kind of easy that keeps us laid back and driven. A determination that keeps us thriving. We can easily be distracted by the beauty of VI living. No legacies for our sons and daughters if we forget the mission. TikTok and Facebook and cancel culturing, interjecting opinions when there are so many cracks in us. But real talk is the water and the power. The Irmas and the Marias, a shifting landscape and rearranging our furniture. And yes, another man down, caught up in a pandemic that touches us all. Everything happens for a reason. One of the many platitudes that leave our heads spinning. Seems that no society is immune in a world inured by violence. We give up our freedom by becoming slaves to the masters called trauma and hatred and greed. Pivoting from chaos and echoing change is how we grow. We live in societies where we have recycled histories, so many left with holes where hearts used to be. With so much bewilderment, we still remember love and empathy and equanimity and forgiveness and kindness and respect and compassion and hope and dreams not deferred. All a part of the nuances that we collectively share. A shift in perspective when peace finds its way. What will define us is our resiliency, our willingness to be in community and in committee, strengthening together, healing together, solutioning together. Our compromises will birth our victories, making smooth the winding roads that lead through Charlotte Amalie and Christiansted and Cruz Bay. Sitting under one umbrella called the Virgin Islands. Eating fried fish and Johnny cake and fungi. Sipping some ginger beer and knocking back a shot of Cruisin'. A little food therapy. While dancing to calypso and quilbe that ravishes our soul, we are witnesses to change. As our history speaks through the echoes of our ancestors, with every storm, through the swaying leaves and the bending branches of the flamboyant trees, there is an energy that touches us all. Our differences and our unique flavors colliding like a bowl of kalaloo. We are all a melting pot with families extended and neighborhoods blended, a healthy sharing of ideas and opinions, multiple hues creating a complexion that's stunning. An ebbing and a flowing of energies and the frequencies, a cacophony of expressions and the capacity to lean on each other. With one rhythm that echoes unity. That steady bass, pan on Juve morning, mukajumbi, and a multicultural display of poetic artistry. Working as hard as we play, enjoying the nightlife as we wind down the day. We are one family, living in a tiny place called paradise. One energy, one breath, one voice, on a continuous journey, celebrating us, comforted underneath the turquoise skies. Thank you.
So, normally we ask for an encore when there's a vocal selection. I almost feel like we need an encore of that. Please, let's give Ms. Potter another round of applause. Absolutely beautiful. Ms. Potter, you had me at Mobby. You really had me at Mobby. I was waiting for the guava tart to be thrown in there. As we know, it is the superior tart of the Virgin Islands. But beautiful poem. I will ask if you can let us know where it is published, where we can find that so that we can put it in every classroom at our schools. Beautiful poem. So now, the moment, the biggest moment when it comes to the swearing in. This is where officially our senators-elect take the oath of office. And I am always so pleased, and whenever I get to MC an event and I see the Honorable Recess Hodge, because such a great man, and we're gonna make sure we do this correctly. So senators-elect, we're gonna need you to listen carefully. When he says I, you're going to say your name one by one. We're going to start from my left to right, okay? But he'll further explain. So I would like to call up the Honorable Reese S. Hodge, Chief Justice of the Virgin Islands.
Okay, we all stand. And as the MC said, I will say I, and then I want individually, you repeat your name, starting with Senator Johnson. So raise your right hand and repeat after me. I,
Franklin D. Johnson.
Alma Francis Highlander.
Nicole Joseph.
Maurice C. James.
Ray Fonseca. Hubert L. Frederick. L. B. Francis Jr. Jackie Potter. Jenna L. Gittin. Avery L. Lewis.
Carla J. Joseph.
Anya L. Lucas Jr.
do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States applicable to the Virgin Islands and the laws of the Virgin Islands, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of Senator of the 36th Legislature of the United States Virgin Islands. With fidelity. So help me God. Congratulations, Senators.
Congratulations, Senators. Let's give them another round of applause. Today is truly a joyous occasion, and we certainly love to see that each senator can embrace one another. Again, collaboration and unity from this point on until the end of the term and beyond. So this is just the beginning. The work begins now. So ladies and gentlemen, as we continue in our special program, we are going to be able to enjoy another musical selection from the University of the Virgin Islands Music Program students. Do enjoy.
Every little thing
so much for that rendition. I'm not going to say that you had some backup singers on my side. So indeed, the 36th Legislature's talent show, we will start to get that underway. I think that was such a fitting song. We look left, we look right. There are challenges in the Virgin Islands, but with God, all things are possible. So no need to worry, no need to fret. We have our elected officials in place. They have a duty and responsibility. And as I stated, the work begins now. There is, in fact, hope for the Virgin Islands. As we continue, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to retire the colors. And I will call the Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps Color Guard from the Ivana Udorican High School to do so. Please stand. Thank you so much. And before the benediction, of course, today's program was short and sweet. But I certainly encourage you, if you have a booklet, to please take a look at the last page for the thank yous. There are so many people who worked tirelessly to make today's event possible, the entire weekend of events, and gratitude is always a must. So we certainly thank each and every one of you who had a role to play in today's program, yesterday's church service, and as we proceed in the activities that will take place at the Capitol building. We are now going to call on Dr. Gerald McDonald, pastor of Impacting Your World Christian Ministries, for the benediction.
To God be the glory, great things he has done. Congratulations, senators. Let us pray. Father, as we conclude this ceremony, we turn our hearts to you in gratitude for the time we have spent together and the renewed commitments our senators have made to serve our community. And Lord, as our legislatures leave this place, we ask, oh God, for you to continue to guide them with wisdom, with encouragement, and with your strength. May they carry the spirit of unity and collaboration in their work, always seeking the well-being of those they represent. And Lord, as we part, may your blessings be upon each member, their families, and this community. We ask for your protection and guidance in the days ahead, trusting that you will lead us towards a brighter future. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor McDonald. And now we have come to the end of our program. So we will have the Recessional March by the 73rd Army Band Brass Music Performance Team. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for attending today's program, and we will ask all guests on the bandstand to just give us a moment so we can get the official photo, and then you may be free to leave the bandstand. Just give us one moment as we capture this official photo for today. But this concludes today's official swearing-in ceremony for the 36th Legislature of the Virgin Islands.
And so we're back live at the 36th Legislature. The senators have taken their oath of office beyond words. It's supposed to have meaning, and in these days, we certainly hope that they will live up to their oath.
The ball has now been kicked off the field. And so the pump and circumstance part has been completed. The oath of office has been taken by the 15 members of the 36th Legislature. And we're now preparing to at least hear from the most important guy according to public releases and statements that has been issued. We suspect
We know who the new prez is.
the incoming president. We will have an opportunity to speak with him. But the ceremony was concise, to the point, and well attended by family and friends and supporters. And I suspect that we would look forward to hear from incumbent senator, incoming Senate President, Milton Potter.
Milton Potter, so nice to have you here. How does it feel? Does it feel a little different because you're going to have a new title, or do you feel the same?
It feels different because clearly the responsibility is much more significant. You're actually responsible for leading a branch of government while at the same time doing the work that the people of the Virgin Islands elected you to do. Make laws that positively impact their quality of life. So it's a dual function. So clearly it is going to be a much greater responsibility.
So we certainly congratulate you. You're a Virgin Islands pride. As former Senator Uzi Richards just said, the pomp and circumstances are over. As you know, you're coming into a time of great crisis in the Virgin Islands. So the weight on your shoulders, I'm sure, is very heavy. Between giving people hope for the future, leading colleagues who were elected just like you, one man, one vote, one woman, one vote.
Yeah, I've both been there, so you understand.
You are exactly right. When we talk about the crisis, obviously we're talking about financial, and we know that people are quite upset in the community, as you know, because we're still reeling from 2017, and it is now 2025. What kind of inspirational words do you have for the people of the Virgin Islands to give them faith that the legislature under your leadership is really going to bring impactful legislation that will definitely change their lives for the better?
Well, definitely. I'm not going to fool the people of the Virgin Islands. Our problems are significant. Our problems are vast. You can just pick one. Affordable housing, healthcare, education, WAPA. But while they are significant, they're not insurmountable. And I think that our approach through the gate is going to be to focus on those real serious quality of life issues like cost of living in the territory. And throughout the course of our campaign, that was the big thing that we were hearing. We were reverberating throughout the community. Food prices, gasoline prices.
And I've seen the people taking things out of their baskets. It's like real life decisions there at the supermarket, at the gas station. So I'm happy that you're actually expressing those thoughts, because the people need to know that you're thinking about it. It's uppermost on your mind.
One of the first things we're going to do is to have a committee of the whole meeting where we're going to focus on cost of living in the territory, how it's impacting us, and what can we do from a policy standpoint to improve.
You heard it there. They met behind closed doors. They said we're going to have a meeting to focus on XYZ.
Well, I think the community have a lot of expectations, particularly given the current status, not only of the economy, the social conditions that we are living in, and there's great expectation that some of these problems can be addressed in a strategic and a manner that outlines exactly where we would like to go. And so I'm appreciative for you joining us during this particular time. I'm glad to hear your comments. 2 years ago, I was encouraging you that if you had lemon, that you needed to make lemonade. Now,
you're right.
My memory is usually my
memory is sharp.
my memory is still there, but in this instance, you don't have any lemons. you're responsible for the meal and the drinks that will be put on the table, because not only will you preside over the body, but you are its lead administrator. And those are two distinct roles and responsibilities
Yes.
that you have to work through in dealing with the members of the body. And so I don't know if you have any comments of your management style in handling 15 elected members who have attained a seat in the same manner that you have attained your seat, with the exception of the role of president.
As you know, and you've been there, it is a complicated process managing an institution where, as you mentioned, Senator, where everybody was equally elected to serve. I think what is going to be my saving grace, I guess, is I am going to be who I am. I am going to be honest. I am going to be fair. I am going to be inclusive. Very often, I think, we have been in situations where we have excluded ideas, and I think that creating a climate and an environment where everyone feels comfortable sharing their ideas. When we have big problems in our territory, the only way we solve them is if we open it up to different ideas and perspectives that were not considered before, and that is going to be my approach.
Well, we certainly thank you for your openness and humility before the public.
Thank you.
And we wish you the very, very best.
I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you very much
so
for the
much.
opportunity. You're welcome.
So there you have it, Lucy.
Thank you for joining us.
So there you have it. The incoming Senate President has said he wants to be inclusive. When we opened the program earlier today, we said that it's absent, the process has been absent of receiving comments and feedback from the community. And so now he's saying, so I'm hoping that everybody who's watching us this morning knows that the Senate President is saying open door policy. And now we have another senator who is joining us, our Senator at Large, the Honorable Angel Bolkes. Welcome to the seat.
Thank you so much, and good morning to you. Good morning, former Senator Millen Young and former Senator Usi Richards, and to the listening and viewing audience. I want to say thank you, everyone, for giving me the opportunity to serve again in the 36th Legislature of the Virgin Islands. There's more work to be done.
Indeed. And since you already opened it, you opened the door, work to be done, what is going to be your focus?
My focus, I'm the chairman of the Committee on Culture, Youth, Aging, Sports and Parks, and we have a broad spectrum to make sure our cultural heritage is intact, of course, and making sure, assuring that our youth and elderly programs and services are available for our people, and of course, Sports and Parks, which helps with our recreational activities in the Virgin Islands.
And because we understand that government exists primarily to support those who can do for themselves. We have to focus on the children, but since you talked about aging, this is quite an aging community. It's one of the oldest communities here in the Caribbean, and there's so much need for legislation. I mean, people are like, oh, the books are full of legislation, but we still need to do a little bit more for our older folks, and I speak from experience as a caregiver. My sister and I do caregiving for my mom. What can you say about what's going on with our elderly in the community? So many of them are by themselves in so much need. I mean, you have any ideas going into this term, how you're going to focus on that?
Well, to be honest with you, we do lack in facilities, but I'm also coincidentally a member of the Commission on Aging. I happen to be the secretary that was just formed last year. And we have a number of things that we're discussing concerning what we're going to do as a commission to help to prescribe or suggest or to try to assist our elderly population, our aging and elderly population, to provide those services and programs that they truly deserve. And of course, getting that federal subsidy that is very important and available to the Virgin Islands. So we want to work with the Department of Human Services in order to secure a lot of that funding so that we're able to assist them in that capacity.
Yes, and I wanted to just quickly, before we move on to other members of the 36, to just find out from the at-large senator, particularly since you have that title of at-large, what do you think is one of the main focus that you want to address that will deal with the territory as a whole outside of the existing districts of St. Thomas, St. John, and St. Croix that you see as a priority for the territory to focus on?
I have begun some of that in the 35th Legislature of the Virgin Islands. Our energy crisis is a serious one. Energy, which affects everything, and it boils down to the cost of fuel and shipping. So if our fuel is expensive for whatever reason, it trickles down to the consumer, you know. And what we need to do, and which I've helped by collaborating with the Director of Energy, Kyle Fleming, and the then CEO of WAPA, Andrew Smith, and my office organized a trip over to Puerto Rico because they had a fully subsidized solar battery charging in Arecibo, Puerto Rico. And a lot of what we're seeing WAPA do now, I don't want to take the full credit, but I was able to help assist them with aligning a number of meetings with delegates in Puerto Rico and senators to be able to look at different ways that we can try to implement that battery storage. And we need to continue those efforts because we need to augment how our generators operate. We have old generators that are working at a high capacity and being strained because of the population that we have now. So if we're able to subsidize that with solar battery storage and bring down, the capacity of the generators, we'll be able to actually bring down the cost of energy in the Virgin Islands. And of course, there's federal government subsidy through the infrastructure acts that were released by Biden. So we're looking forward to making sure and assuring that we access as much of that as we can, as we know that the president has changed. So we don't know what type of posture he may have towards the Virgin Islands for whatever case, but we need to do our jobs.
Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us and letting the public know what to expect. Energy is a huge deal for all of us, and you've given us a little tease as to what to expect. So thank you, and we wish you the best in this next legislature.
Thank you so much, and thank you to WTJX for always covering the most important topics throughout our territory. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So there you have it.
I think what is interesting, and we're going to have comments and a few words from a number of members of the 36th legislature is that our community, and they're not going to say to you and me, but sometimes they speak aloud to themselves. Listen, we hear the same thing every 2 years.
I know.
We're here 2 years later, and you spoke about this thing. When are we actually gonna experience results
From the talk to the action?
To the action, and I think you made mention of something off here earlier that hey, we can't continue to speak of whether it's a pandemic, whether it's the 2017 hurricanes or storms, whether the most recent one I think we have had just last year. The kind of weather that left these boats in the harbors of St. Thomas.
Extreme weather is a real
and so these are things that are not solely in the realm of the legislature, but in our community they expect a lot of things from the legislature to assist and act upon outside making laws.
All right. So we have now been joined by newly minted Senator, the Honorable Avery Lewis. Welcome to WTJX and the public who is waiting to hear what you got in store for them.
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to say thanks to God for giving me health and strength to even be here.
A little higher.
Thanks to God for even giving me health and strength to even be here. There's a lot in store. We have to, during campaign and canvassing the community, I heard the cry of the people. Even as the former administrator, you get a better grasp of what's really going on and, feel the pulse of the people. So I need to go in to make life easier and better for the people of the Virgin Islands. Some simple things we could do. One of the things we're going to try to look into is increasing the minimum wage. We have to see if we get the best deal with our shipping companies to see how we can try to ease the prices and they try to ease the prices in the grocery stores and so forth for the people, and even at the pumps. We have to try to do things for the people of the Virgin Islands to make life easier and better.
So the pressure is on with you because you just mentioned you're a former island administrator, and people are going to say, well, you're tied to the administration. Will you be able, and how comfortable will you be able to make your independent decisions?
Well, first and foremost, people need to know, and my name is Avery Lewis, not Albert Bryan Jr. or Tregenza Roach. And I could make a decision separate and independent of the governor or this administration. And at times we're going to have to pull up this administration because we know where there are some faults and so forth. But I know we do have relationships, and I'm a Virgin Islander. So we're in a small knit community, and just like all my other colleagues, so they have relationships with the administration. But I know people more so looking at me to say, well, let me see if he's the governor water boy and all kind of thing. I've been hearing it, but I come here to work for the people of the Virgin Islands. I make tough and unpopular decisions to help benefit the people of the Virgin Islands.
I think what is most important, and thank you now, you're not Senator-elect Lewis anymore. Thank you, Senator Lewis. I think we've crossed that bridge this morning. I think the concern and one of the things that we hear in the community, you're now in a different branch of government.
That's right.
And I think the most important thing that, at least for me, that you could share with the community is what road and what path you think that you can be able to take in this role to effectuate the changes that are needed in our community.
So like I was saying earlier, you know, I've been on the other side where I seen things need that, you know, the executive branch executes and put things in motion. But I've also seen where there are things on the books and the executive branch haven't executed. So it's time to hold their feet to the fire and make things happen for the people of the Virgin Islands. You know, we can't continue turning a blind eye and thinking that things ain't happening. But some things are not just happening, and we just need to do things for the people of the Virgin Islands to make life easier and better. So sit down here to say all the problems, you know, I can't do that. No. But when I get in there, I know I've heard the cry of the people. WAPA is an issue, you know. The aging infrastructure is an issue. So we have to, you know, put our money where our mouth is, and step up for the people of the Virgin Islands.
We certainly appreciate it, and the people of the Virgin Islands needed to hear you say those things, and you said them forcefully.
Yes.
We want to thank you for your time, and we want to express our most heartfelt congratulations to you and best luck.
Yeah, and I thank you all too, and thank WTJX for the wonderful job you do throughout the years in the Virgin Islands. Great asset to this community, and in that seat over there, I'll continue supporting WTJX.
So grateful.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much.
You'll have a wonderful day.
And thank you for being here with us.
So you heard it forcefully. What is his name? He reinforced that he will have an independent stance once he goes to the legislature, even though he has just departed from the current administration.
What's more important, I think, that we have to acknowledge, it's not public perception. It's just factual. The last time that they saw his face in government, even till after election and up to last week, because I think I heard him making some mention on Friday that today is his last day as the administrator of St. Thomas Water Island, is that people want action. And action is clearly a prerequisite for today for meeting the expectations of our constituents.
Indeed, indeed. So now we would like to welcome returning Senator, the Honorable Maurice James. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning to both of you, honorables.
Good morning. Good morning.
We're happy to have you here. We're so happy to have so many senators to come before the cameras and speak to the people. You've just taken the oath. What is on the uppermost part of your mind, what I'm going to introduce to the people of Virgin Islands this term?
Well, there were a number of pieces of legislation that I didn't get through in the first term. You know, 2 years is very short. And, you know, there were many things happening that took us away from, well, me anyway, from what my legislation pushing it. So I'm hoping to, in this term, focus on the pieces that I have. You know, for example, I have the emergency, regulation of emergency medical services that I had actually started when I was working with the governor in 2019, but it never made it to the Senate, and I'm hoping to move that this time. I'm also going to focus on early childhood care and education, because that needs to be done in the Virgin Islands. We need to change the system. So I'm hoping to get rid of all those silos dealing with children and put it under one system.
Congratulations again for
Thank you.
coming to the 36th Legislature. I was able to say that to you privately. Now I could say it
Yes.
publicly.
Thank you.
And in case, Millen Young, that you may have missed the note, the male senators from the District of St. Croix now is trying to exhibit some courtesy. You notice all of them came
She just reached, right?
Yeah, right before her, they were like, "This is the only female senator from the District of St. Croix." Let me ask you, just quickly, given that highlight of being the only female senator from the District of St. Croix, Can you speak of your ability to interact with your district members, to work along with the members of your majority caucus and non-majority members that may not be part of the caucus? How has been your experience in the 35th that you could help you out in the 36th legislature?
Well, in the 35th, I will say that I really learned a lot from the senators in the 35th. I got a lot of guidance and support from them, and I really appreciated that because it was a learning curve for me. You know, there is a difference between being a lawyer, an attorney, and a senator. Totally different. So for me, that helped. I think, though, that as a woman, as a female, we cannot underscore the importance of our voice being at the table. And because we're different, we have different experiences. And so I am hopeful that in the 36, I will be able to really get my colleagues to understand, especially when it comes to women and children, the issues that we're facing, because at the end of the day, they suffer more. No one can disagree with me or dispute that. Children ultimately suffer, and most of our households are headed by women. So I'm going to focus on those. And of course, our senior citizens. You know, we need to...
I was hoping that you didn't exclude me.
Yeah. and me. And me. We went to high school together.
Excellent points. And we want to thank you for your time here. We want to wish you the best.
Thank you.
In the 36th legislature. Congratulations again.
Thank you. Thank you. Both of you. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. And I think at least for me, it was really, really important to get a feel, you know, from particularly last term a freshman senator, now going into her sophomore term.
Yes.
You know, about her experience in the 35th and what she thought that she learned that she could bring forward to go forth in the 36th legislature.
And a good point about being the only female in that district. When I first swore, and I too was the only woman here in the St. Thomas St. John district. But it didn't feel any different for me as a legislator. You're a legislator, you know. Right. So here, the man of the hour or the last 2 years, the former Senate president, for a few more minutes, right? Because then you pass the gavel. The Honorable Novell Francis, welcome, and welcome to the public of WTJX.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. And of course, good morning to you, former President Usi and former Vice President Janet Miller Young.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure to be here this morning with you.
So you said you can't wait. You know, people think, well, 2 years really does move very fast, but obviously the responsibility as Senate President, a lot rests on your shoulders. You are presiding over who? People who are elected just like you, one man, one vote, one woman, one vote. That's what I've been saying all morning. So how does it feel now, today?
Well, I'm looking forward to a full night's rest. I haven't had one in the last 2 years. You know, we have had a tremendous amount of challenges in the Virgin Islands over the last 2+ years. But certainly, I often ask individuals that come before us, testifiers, what keeps you up at night? You know, and of course, there's all of the challenges. So, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm up like a zombie, just considering and thinking about all the challenges that we have here in the Virgin Islands. I've been a public servant, for the last 35 years, so I have appreciation for public service. But I'll tell you that it's real challenging, and we have our work cut out for us as we go into the 36th legislature of the Virgin Islands.
And of course, I'm going to pass it on to Usi, but you're coming in to be the budget chair, the finance chair, and most of our issues revolve around money these days. What's going to be your focus with that?
Well, first of all, is to identify the available funding that we do have. And I was the former, in the 35th legislature, I served as the vice chair. So I have a good understanding of the finances, but really just trying to put that money to work. We have a situation where we have a new president coming in. We have a lot of perils. We see what's happening in California. We see what's happening in the East Coast with all of these snowstorms and everything like that. So funding will become challenging for the United States. So I want to make sure that our federal funding that's available to us is maintained, but more importantly, it's been spent to make us a better community.
Thank you. And I was going to acknowledge that we're now dealing with members of the Democratic majority in the purple passion. In case you missed it, they all came out in their purple ties. So now that we have them, we want to know what's your passion for the constituents that you would like to pursue in the 36th legislature. I mean, a particular focus, something that you think needs to be addressed, a couple of items. Could you just share with our viewers and listeners?
Absolutely. I certainly had the mental health was my passion, during the 35th legislature, really pushing the issue of behavioral health, throughout. And, I believe that I'll continue along that track, but more importantly, I'll also focus on our senior population. We have an aging community, and we have a lot of needs. We have a lot of our seniors that's suffering from dementia, Alzheimer's, loneliness. And, I really want to make sure that we're building facilities to be able to accommodate them, have assisted living homes. We want to make sure that we have a sensory or cope with these difficulties as they move forward. So that is my passion going into the 36th legislature. I've already done a lot of the research that's needed for us to be able to ensure that we have these facilities available. And really, I'm going to just utilize and work along with my colleagues to make sure that we have these facilities.
This is awesome news. Thank you so much for sharing what part of your agenda will be. We want to wish you the very best. You succeeding means we succeed. Best of luck to you.
Thank you very much.
See you in
I
a few.
appreciate it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
So, Usi, how you like that? Everybody has mentioned aging.
Well, we have a significant growing population in regards to, and I don't like call them, you use the appropriate term, elderly. I don't like the term elderly, that are aging. The aging population needs to have an opportunity to enjoy the moments in life, given all of their experiences. And we are joined by a member of the 36th legislature that is not in purple passion. I don't know when you.
Oh,
when
a little bit of purple.
Yeah, well, he didn't have a choice with what's the name. The majority gave that pin on. But when I was in the legislature, I don't know if you saw when you were there, we had someone that we refer to as the Dan of the legislative body when it comes to dress.
Who's the Dan then?
Former Senator Adler Fancy Dana Stark. It looks like we're here now with Franklin D. Johnson.
Senator
Franklin,
Johnson, congratulations.
He's now taking the title over. I mean, he's looking dapper.
Good afternoon. I just would like to start to say Happy New Year to all and, thank God for this day.
So quickly, because so many of your colleagues are joining us today, what should the people of Virgin Islands be looking forward in this term? Because, they want substantive issues to be brought to the fore.
For me, it's about trying to make sure that our people get taken care of. I have two measures, and I'm working with Senator Cordvillet, especially who want to raise government employees from 27 to 32 or 35. But I also have the minimum wage bill. And that has to come this year. I had it from last legislation, taking it from the $10.50, carrying it to $13.50. And then within the next 6 months, it's supposed to go to $14. So these type of things we have to do because the cost of living is just keep going higher and higher, and folks' wages just ain't matching with that. So I definitely have those two measures and can't wait to get them on the floor and get them moving.
And I appreciate, I think those are some real grassroots fundamental concerns, not only in the public sector, but also in the private sector. And when you speak to minimum wage, those are very important. Let's hear from you. Outside of that, are there any particular other issues that you think we need to focus on from your standpoint as a senator in the 36?
For me, projects is important. And one of the projects and I really want to see moving is that Envision project with the folks with the homes. We have too many people in this Virgin and still living with blue roof. So we have to make sure that we hold the administration accountable. I said that in the church service yesterday to my colleagues. We have to call these agencies in, bring them in, get the information, find out why these projects are not moving. Without these projects, the Virgin Islands could run into some problem. We have a Republican-based, controlled Washington, and this money might not stay here if we don't get this money moving. So we have to push these projects to make sure that we utilize all this hurricane money that we're sitting on. So the projects, the Envision, the hospital, the schools, these things has to be priority to us.
Priority. Thank you so much for your time, and we want to wish you the best.
Thank you very much. God bless
we do
you
appreciate you joining us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I think that it's important. I believe this is a fun non-majority senator that we've spoken to, Senator Franklin Johnson. And unfortunately, I say unfortunately, in the 36th legislature, there's a 12-member majority caucus, and there are 3 members that are not members in the
they
majority.
need to be loud.
And so they have to make sure they amplify the focus of what they would like to do on behalf of the people of the Virgin Islands.
Indeed. And so now we have a newly minted senator. Senator, I know you a long time.
You
The
do.
Honorable
Yes.
Hubert Frederick. Welcome
Thank
to the camera of WTJX.
Hi, good afternoon.
We
viewing
congratulate
audience.
you.
Thank you so much.
And we want to hear from you. What do you believe is going to be that pressing issue that's going to be your focus? Because obviously it's not just what your focus is, because you're working with 14 others, but what is your priority?
My priorities have always been, we got to get the hospital going. That's exceptionally important. Healthcare is a number one priority, in addition to elderly care. I have an elderly mom that I'm taking care of right now, and it's been a very daunting task for me and my sisters to do that. She's just turned 87.
Oh, wow.
So we're excited that she's alive and well, but she has some memory issues. And so we're going to have to deal with that on our own. And we wish we had more resources available to help her, but that doesn't exist.
So Usi is a former Health and Hospitals chair.
Yes.
So I'm going to let you take over on that question.
I think one of the greatest concerns, particularly in the district of St. Croix, of which Senator Frederick represents, is the state of the healthcare system on St. Croix, from the facilities to the access. Because as we speak today, Department of Health headquarters has been demolished and being rebuilt. We're in a modular that's for a hospital, where they're supposed to have started constructing a new one that has not started yet. I mean, as a senator with the oversight responsibility, what do you plan to do different?
You're the chair, right?
No, I'm the vice chair.
He's the vice chair.
I'm the chair of the Economic Development and Agriculture Committee.
Yeah, he's the vice chair, and that's one of the issues we have. We still have the same chair that sat through those 2 years of this experience as a vice chair, as a senator, and a former employee of the Department of Health. What is your approach to trying to get things moving?
Well, I'm glad I was former Deputy Commissioner of Health, and I was the Director of Mental Health for over a year. So I'm excited to get back in the healthcare administration portion of my career. I was pretty effective when I was there, so I'm sure with my colleagues we'll be able to push forward some meaningful legislation to help push this process. We're going to have a new CEO next month coming on board, who is my former boss. So I'm looking forward to that collaborative relationship, so we can see what needs to be done to really push this issue forward. It's critical on St. Croix.
Your success is our success, and so we're rooting for you.
Yes,
thank you
thank
so
you
much,
so
and
much.
congratulations once again on being elected. Be well.
And thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Senator.
So the focus on the hospitals is going to be very critical. As you know, the community is reeling from the fact that the hospital is lacking in many basic supplies. So legislature is going to come in, and what are they going to do? Are they going to look at funding to assist, legislation to fix some of the policies? Because the hospitals have their own boards.
And what is important, the definition of health is a complete state of physical, mental, and social well-being. And so that includes everything from your ability to access appropriate education, the quality of food. And I see now we're here with, how many terms you had? 10?
Yeah. Fifth term
now. I had it right, 10 years, fifth term. Yeah. We're here with Senator DeGraff, and we're glad that you join us. What committees that they projecting to place you on?
No,
for the 36, they haven't announced what committees the non-majority senators would be assigned to us yet.
First of all, good morning. Happy New Year. Senator Millen Young, thank you for your mentorship in my first year. Senator Richards, thank you for your mentorship. I highly appreciate it. Right now, they haven't put me on. I haven't seen, but wherever they put me, I come to work, so I'm going to be there for the people, you know. So it's such a humbling effect to be elected for a fifth term that, I'm trying to get the power back to the first branch of government that I've seen slipped away.
that was allowed to be done by the majority. And we in the minority put up a fight, and we're going to continue to fight, not because we want to be in opposition, but because we want to make the majority of the legislature understand that we all in this together. It's not you going to do your do, we going to find fault, and then we go. No, we trying to get it, to enhance.
So at the end of the last legislature, you try to push through some monies for facilities, health facilities. So now the governor said that there are other ways that they're going to use that money. Are you going to actually try to do, bring that back to the floor, or are you going to look at other alternatives for the aging population? Or the aging, not the elderly population.
The aging, you got aging. No, I'm going right back after that. I even tried again also to ask the president for us to try to have a meeting because you didn't adjourn Senate. Before the issue came up with the salaries, I tried to see if I could get an emergency meeting to override the governor's veto. And I don't understand why he would override it. When the governor asked for $4 million for Seaview, we gave him the $4 million. So now to put $10 million for St. Croix, $10 million for St. Thomas, for senior facilities, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing because I'm a territorial senator. I'm elected in St. Thomas, St. John district, but I'm territorial.
We certainly appreciate your words and sharing with us your priorities, and we wish you well in the upcoming 36th legislature.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the people.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. It's quite interesting because I think one of the most important things when you have incumbents that are re-elected, the subject matter is continuity.
Right, that doesn't die.
What do you start working on that you're going to make sure gets done that's going to impact the life and the livelihood of your constituents? I see we now join with the person responsible for the Purple Passion, because as far as you and I know,
the majority?
He's supposedly to be the incoming majority leader, and I want to know what kind of majority whip you intend to be in getting our elected leaders of the 36 to focus on the priorities of our community.
Welcome
Senator
and congratulations.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Senators. We have already begun that discussion about what are we going to be able to accomplish in the first 60 days. And I told the Senators yesterday, and I told them last week, we don't have the luxury of time. We have pressing issues with a whole heap of federal dollars that could address those issues, so we need to hit the ground running and make sure we exercise that oversight responsibility and ask the hard questions that these departments are going to do what they need to do. And I spoke a lot about it. It has nothing to do with party or friendship or anything. It has to do with the Virgin Islands. Our basic quality of life issues have deteriorated. Healthcare in St. Croix literally gone. Education, schools being closed at 12 o'clock because of heat, excessive heat. These are issues that we are confronting on a daily basis, but it's not getting better. So my real role is to work collaboratively with the executive branch and make sure the members of the minority, and we address these issues and come up with solutions.
Well, what heartens me is that you said you went from 100 to 60 days. Usually we hear a report in 100 days, but you said in 60 days, you're looking to fast track a lot of things.
And the reason why, I said 100 days you're going to get comfortable.
Yeah.
I want you right now, every single committee chair, to look at your committee and see what is the most outstanding issue that's impacting quality of life in the Virgin Islands and address the issue now. So by the first week of February, we should be having a slew of meetings. We're also going to have a mechanism, I'm hoping it works out, to address the retroactivity that is owed to all the seniors. So we're going to bring that. Matter of fact, it's being filed right now, but we are going to address those issues because I don't really think we have any other choice. We have no other choice at this time.
Yeah, and I'm glad to hear that you've put in some time frame on it. I think the community as a whole, whether you live in St. Croix, St. Thomas, or St. John, they're really sick and tired of just a talk. They want to know time frame, action, and I'm glad to hear that this is one of the things you'll be pushing as the majority leader to keep our foot on the neck.
Yes,
as the members of the legislature.
Yes.
That's our responsibility as citizens and members of the constituency that voted for senators.
We certainly appreciate the fact that you're talking about inclusiveness as well.
Well, we must. Yeah. We must, because it's not us fighting among ourselves. is really being able to solve these issues. And what I'm looking at is on the national level, you're seeing what happened in California, you saw what happened in North Carolina. So there's going to be a need for more and more federal funds. And we have this pot of federal money in excess of $14, $15 billion, and we don't want it to be touched. We don't want to lose it. The Envision monies are expiring in 2026, and that's some $200 million to repair people's homes. So we got to make sure it's done. You repair a home, we collect property tax. Why would you send back any money? So we got to make sure it is done and everybody understand the importance of their role. And if they can't do it, we find somebody else that could do it.
Incoming Majority Leader, we wish you the
so
best.
much.
Your
Thank
success
you,
is
thank
our
you,
success.
Thank you. And thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. Greatly appreciated.
Indeed.
Yeah, and I think for me, I can't speak for you. It was important that I get some part that's being pictured by someone that carries the title of a majority leader, because a majority leader ain't just supposed to get you all together to decide how we're going to divide up the spoils. The most important thing of a majority leader is to make sure that the majority of senators have an agenda, a priority, some path or road that they're heading down before they begin to do their work.
I agree. And so now we have the pleasure of welcoming to the cameras, to the viewers of WTJX, the incoming, what's your chair now? Your chair?
Housing,
Transportation, so you've been there. You've been there.
Definitely.
So we expect much more from you coming in.
I'm hearing a lot of that, and I appreciate that, but yes, I plan to do more.
Did I call his name? The Honorable Marvin Blyden.
Marvin Blyden.
Yes.
I didn't call your name. So coming into this this particular legislature, the 36th, you've been in that position before. You know the senator who was just in the seat, Senator Viale, spoke about the Envision program. Several others have as well. How do you see yourself putting additional pressure to ensure that these roofs get fixed?
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm glad you asked that question, and good morning again to you guys. When it comes to the Envision program and other programs by the Housing Finance Authority, when it comes to housing, I have been in the forefront of pushing and assuring that they do what it's supposed to do based on hard policy and guidelines and based on the priority of the spending of the funds. Now, I already have meetings scheduled for this next week, as a matter of fact, with the Housing Finance Authority and all other agencies that are under my purview. I already have meetings scheduled, so I have been running. I'm not hitting the ground running. I've been running, and I've been meeting, and I've been making moves in terms of assuring that things happen in those agencies. For instance, when it comes to the other programs with paying your light bill through WAPA or paying your cable bill or having legal services involved, I was the one that pushed and assured that those things happen because I understood the policies based on my experience with HUD and the policies that came forward that was not happening. So I will continue to do such on behalf of my people, but I just say yes, I'm not an officer this term, but it's going to give me more time to really push and work with and alongside with my colleagues and those agencies to assure that things happen expeditiously because we can afford to lose a penny with all that's happening right now in that space on Capitol Hill with a new president coming on the 20th. And there's a lot of disasters within the United States, and we must assure that we protect those funding and those money that's already here in the pipeline.
And I want to thank Senator Blyden for his comment. I'm just, I used to tell people I didn't have aftercare. I grew up in the yard, so after school, you were looked over by a grandparent, mostly your grandmother. And so after he made those comments, the only thing came to my mind is that the proof is in the pudding.
Of course.
And you've been in the 35th, we've had these problems. What do you think that you can do differently in the 36th to make sure action is taken? We understand the role of the legislature, but its oversight responsibility is something that I don't think has really been fully effective, implemented and executed by members of the body.
And that's a good observation, and I can somewhat agree with you. What I plan to do differently, like I said, I'm not an officer this term. I already spoke to my team that we will be on the ground in those agencies working with and assisting, because many times we assist to assure that things happen because it's not about us, it's about the people of the Virgin Islands. That's my point, and that's what I'm going to do this term. I'm going to be in those agencies on a regular basis, weekly as a matter of fact, to assure that they do what they say they're going to do, we follow through and follow up and make sure it happens. And basically work with them and don't take any credit, but make sure it's done on behalf of our people.
We're going to hold you to it.
Definitely. And I look forward to you holding to me, because you know why? That's your job and that's my job. So I look forward to the challenge.
We certainly appreciate the time you've taken to spend with us and talking to the viewers. I know you have to run, and you're probably the last senator here with us, and you're going to continue with the formal opening of this legislature.
Well, thanks again, and good morning to the people of the Virgin Islands.
We wish you the best.
And thank you
so
very
much. I
much,
appreciate it. And keep me in your prayers.
for joining us. Thank you very much.
Keep you in our prayers.
And I think, former Senator Million Young, what is so important, at least for me, being here, sitting here on behalf of the constituencies and the communities, that we hear and in a lot of instances feel the cry and the pain of members of this community who are experiencing so much after working so hard and putting so much into the government of the Virgin Islands, into the private sector, and not receiving the expected services. You know, I know you're over here in St. Thomas, but you know, we play dodgeball on the roads of St. Croix. I know as a little girl you probably played a few games of hopscotch, but that is basically the life and livelihood that people are going through in meeting the expenses, the needs, whether it's healthcare. You go into the grocery shop, and if you a retiree that get the $40 every third quarter to add on with your Social Security, you are looking at your grocery list and deciding what you're going to get.
And that came up a lot this
yes.
morning.
Oh, yes.
A lot of them talked about the cost of living, going to the grocery stores. They're going to be keeping an eye out on that. But I want to take you to the point where we know, because a lot of them talked about the role of the legislator. Oh, we can only legislate and the executive branch executes and implements. But you must be advocates. You must be loud. I mean, when I say loud, it's not yelling. You must be present. Things are not happening. You got to be on the horn. You got to pick up that phone. You got to get your press release and say, hey, listen, Department of such and such, you're not doing. We are here to support you. Let's make sure. There's a problem why you can't get this done, but you got to be an advocate. A lot of the reasons that people go out there and vote for senators in this type of process that we have in the Virgin Islands, the form of government that we have, is because we need them to speak for us.
Well, I'm going to get in trouble here because I think the time has come that the members of legislative bodies, and not just speaking about the 36, have to move on from being chihuahuas. We need pit bull. I saw the current chief of the executive branch a couple of times during the festival season, Governor Bryan. And every time I stop and he's talking to me and whoever he has with him, he'll be telling me, son, when I was a commissioner and he was a senator, I used to afraid to go before here, you know. Because when he asks you a question, he don't know the answer. But I'm saying that to say is that the current members of the body have to pull and be prepared to fully exercise the authority, role, responsibility. You think Commissioner Million Young coming before me at the chair of the Finance Committee, and then I expecting that you will provide this information, and you tell me, well, I ain't guide with you. Well, we're trying to get to you by next week. We're taking a recess. Yes. The committee is going to take a recess, and you get on the phone, and whoever did to work in the office need to get to. Now they say we go wait to fax machine, get an email and email the machine. But I think the assertiveness is necessary from our elected leaders.
I agree, and you made great points, and it's been an absolute pleasure to be here before our viewers of WTJX. So while our role here concludes this morning, we're going to ask the viewers to stay tuned for the formal organization of the 36th Legislature. For now, I'm Jeanette Millen Young.
And I'm Usi Richards, and I want to thank WTJX, the public broadcasting station, for giving me the fortunate opportunity to be on air with former Senator Million Young. Thank you all for listening to us and viewing today.
Thank you, and now we're going to join the WTJX programming that is Continuing, it's already in progress.
Thank you.
Good morning.